3 events remain in Burnout 2, and technically, even though I've already made a start on this, I've simply decided, well, because my run in the second race was so atrocious, I've simply decided I'm just going to restart. So yes, I will restart the Grand Prix, and the car I have decided to use for this will be the custom pickup. And the tracks we are going to are Crystal Summit Peak, Freeway Dash, Sunrise Valley Downtown, Big Surf Grove, Palm Bay Marina, and Airport Terminal 1 and 2. All of them being on their reverse variants, and right now, I just want to get on with this. So, trying again with the Point of Impact Grand Prix to make my attempts this time a bit less atrocious. Or at least to make my attempts a bit less atrocious than they have been. Well, one thing I can say that is certain is that the pickup has got some speed, which is one of the things I need if I'm going to win this. I could have opted to use the J muscle, but I decided not to. I'm also pretty sure this is going to require a clean sweep coming from me, and both of the leaders just racked out in front of me, and unlike last time, I was able to avoid them. So yeah, this is my second attempt of recording this because, well, I've decided I want to at least try and see if I can give myself a stronger shot of winning compared to before. It's also because, well, I did try and see if retiring from the race would send me back to the championship default screen, but unfortunately, however, it does not, and I'm also pretty sure once I'm done with this, I'm gonna need to do a sweep up with the supercar. Because I basically know for sure this is not going to be a clean sweep. But either way, I am doing better on this attempt than I was on my previous attempt. So that does at least show something. I've told myself from the atrocity that was my previous attempt, so perfect lap to begin with. Well, 3 perfect laps to begin with, technically, but either way, I'm still doing a pretty good job because, amazing as it might be, I'm still not wrecked up to this stage. As I now have a lead of less than 5 seconds over the custom coupe, because I think the rest of the field at the moment just seems to keep racking out. Meanwhile for me, I'm actually managing to avoid some of those mistakes. And I will honestly be shocked if this becomes a perfect run. So, final lap, and Now it is the J Muscle which is up to second position by virtually 6 seconds behind me. Of course, if I rack up to this stage, then my lead is basically going to be evaporated. But either way, still keeping ahead of the rest of the field. The custom coupe is now back up to second once again because of the AI's recklessness. And it looks as though, unless anything sudden happens, I'm basically going to win this race full stop. And I almost set a new best lap time in the process. So overall, reasonable start, all things considered. Because I did not wreck as much. Well, to be completely honest, I basically didn't wreck at all. But either way, I'm happy with it. So, I start off the championship with a win, no crashes, and an overall score of 15,000. And that basically seems to be the default bug that this game has. Basically showing that whenever the player wins, the two other AI cars that assumingly get defaulted to second and third positions, whenever the player wins, it always seems to be in those default positions. I also decided to restart this because, well, I simply decided because I was not even close to the J Muscle in the third race, I figured it would be necessary for me to at least give myself a better shot. And this time I did let go of the throttle, so I did not hit either of those buses. And amazingly, I was able to slot myself through them. So even though I don't get good starts, I can at least say my on-track pace is quite a different story whenever my head is screwed on. And sometimes it is. But a lot of the time it isn't. When it comes to trying to get a perfect score, well, at least I can say it's just me and the Roadster. I'm basically right where I want to be. And all I'm trying to do now is make sure I at least hold on to second. That's practically the position I'm expecting myself to get at this stage. Well, I think winning is out the window, and I did make sure to ease off the throttle once I got across the bridge, because I ultimately decided I did not want to have another wreck a split second later. Really trying my hardest to avoid the traffic here, because I know there's a lot of it. And I'm doing surprisingly well, at least compared to my previous attempts. I'm actually doing a pretty good job at the moment. Oh, and there goes the Roadster. Come on, make it 2 in a row, 2 in a row. Please make this 2 in a row. Is it going to be 2 in a row, I wonder? We shall wait and see. Well, I'm a long way clear, so I would say yes. Okay. I did what I needed to do, which is a good thing. So, 2 wins in a row. The perfect way to start off this championship. At least it was better than the mediocre attempt I put up last time. Anyways, I have 2 wins over the J Muscle, and the Custom Roadster is currently running in 3rd. Meanwhile, the Custom Coupe is still yet to score. So with that, let's move on to Sunrise Valley Downtown for our 3rd race of the Point of Impact Grand Prix. Also, I should mention the Custom Coupe is starting on a dike. At least it looks like it's starting on a dike. And still not able to rev in time with the AI, but either way, still able to at least give myself a reasonable look of what has been going on here. Although, it will surprise me if I do manage to beat the J Muscle whilst I'm here. How did I avoid that bus? I've got no idea how I was able to avoid that bus. Either way, probably not the first time I've surprised myself in this game, but at least I can say I've got 2 wins to start off the campaign, which means I do at least... Yeah, I don't think I'm catching the J Muscle. I think he seems to be too far ahead at this stage, the way I see it. But either way, how did I not crash? I'm going to assume that must have been a bounce off or something, because I really did not think I was going to avoid that. Well, closing in on the J Muscle a little bit, but it's probably not going to be enough to stop him at this stage. He clearly seems to be the better car over me at the moment. But either way, I'm still putting up a reasonable run. I would also like to say I did restart the game. Yeah, I don't think I'm catching the J Muscle. I think he's really starting to pull away from me at this stage. I don't think I'm catching him. I think he's a little bit too quick for me at this stage of the race. I am running in 2nd, which is pretty reasonable, but I don't think I'm going to catch up to him. Even though I've had 3 perfect laps in a row, I don't think I'm quick enough to best the J Muscle at this stage, as much as I'm desperately trying. But then again, I'm okay with 2nd, because I already have 2 wins up to this stage of the championship anyway. Although it also means I am going to have to try and sweep up these remaining races. So it's not going to be a clean sweep, unfortunately. But either way, it is good to know I got my 2 wins to start off the campaign. So it at least means I had a 2-point advantage over the J Muscle. So, got a silver, but either way, kind of knew that was coming. The J Muscle just looked flawless in that race. And surprisingly, still no points for the Custom Coupe. I guess it must be because he's off the pace. But either way, 3 races down. Let's head to Big Surf Grove. Okay. And we are racing at night once again. Well then. Here we go. Here we go. And once again, the J-Muscle out of all of us had the best start. To be completely honest, I'm really not too surprised. You know, come to think of it, I actually don't think I've got any replay shots from Airport Terminal 1 and 2 yet. In the Custom Championship, that probably is something I could do, thinking about it. I probably could do that, if I really wanted to. It's definitely on the cards, the way I see it. And the Roadster is now leading this thing, so it must have been the J-Muscle who wrecked early. And so glad to say I'm actually on the crossroad section instead of passing through it. Which I suppose is something, but... And it looks as though the Roadster just hit that fork in the road, so... In turn, it does give me the lead of this race, and now I wreck shortly afterwards. Oh well. At least I got reset in the lead momentarily. And it does also mean the J-Muscle is behind me, so that's all I really need to worry about at the present time. I kind of knew this wasn't going to be a perfect score, but hopefully the final championship will prove to be better than this. Because it would be nice if I could get a clean sweep in the last event, even though that's probably wishful thinking. Even though I would imagine that's probably wishful thinking. But either way, I'm still in it to win it. I'm not in it for perfection, but I am in it to at least prove I can achieve a game ratio of 100%. Well, a game completion of 100%, to be more specific. Well, it looks as though the J-Muscle is not up to second yet, so at least I can say I am able to hold on to this lead. And 2 perfect laps, alright. And the Roadster is now closing in on me once again. But either way, it still looks to be a pretty good race, all things considered. And almost scraping myself into the fence, and somehow I did not destroy my car, whilst I was right behind what looked to be a compact, or a hatchback, as I would presumably refer to it as. But either way, I'm still racing, I'm still in the lead, I am heading in the correct direction, and I can at least say, all things considered, this race is actually going well. And even though I did have a flawless run in the previous race, the J-Muscle was simply way too fast for me. But either way, it doesn't matter because I will still find a way to fight back regardless. Anyways, final lap. The Roadster is still in second, so the J-Muscle must be having a mediocre run at this stage, even though I'm quite sure the points will just default to what the race results were from the first race. So basically, if the Roadster does beat me, then, or if I beat the Roadster, it's basically going to mean nothing, because the J-Muscle will still be defaulted to a second place finish, even if he didn't finish in second place out on track. That seems to be one bug I've noticed with this game, as in wherever the player manages to win, it's usually the default setting of the second and third placed cars just basically scoring the remaining points up for grabs, and yet the fourth placed car basically does not get a shot at scoring points at all. Either way, 3 wins in the Point of Impact Grand Prix. I have achieved victory once again. And now we can move on. So 1 crash in the end of that, and a total score of 15.1 million points. Oh, okay. So apparently I have noticed there being a reset. Well, I guess it must just be me. Anyways, on to our penultimate race in the Point of Impact Grand Prix, which takes place at Palm Bay Marina Reverse. And not really bothered about course introductions. I'm just gonna get on with this, so then I can get on with the clean sweep afterwards. It would also be nice if in the last event we do in this game, I do manage to get the clean sweep, although at the moment it does not look to be the case. But either way, I do have at least 3 wins under my belt, and I also have a 2-point lead over the J-Muscle as a result of him finishing 3rd. Although I am going to assume I'm being wildly inaccurate with that assumption. I think the J-Muscle just got defaulted to 2nd because I won. Either way, I know the J-Muscle is in front of me, and I know that is apparently the guy I've got to catch. He's already beaten me once, but I'm not going to let him beat me twice. I really do hope he has a wreck. I really do hope he has a wreck somewhere in front of me, and then I don't have to worry about winning more than 1 race if I manage to stay far enough ahead of the Roadster. That would be nice, by the way. Anyways. So the custom coupe, I've already established that is clearly not a good idea, because the custom coupe will simply be too slow compared to your competition. So, word of advice is do not use the custom coupe, because you will be well off the pace of the AI if you do. And it doesn't look as though I'm catching the J-Muscle at this stage. I think he's pulling away from me. Yep, he is nearly 7 seconds clear of me. I'm going to assume that must just be an AI thing, where at certain tracks they seem to have the advantage over the player. But either way, I'm still involved in this. I'm not out of contention yet. I can still see the first place board up ahead of him, so maybe he will not pull too far ahead of me? Well, I don't think so, because he already has a 6-second lead over me. I don't think I'm catching the J muscle, even though I am trying my damnedest to make sure I at least achieve something. Either way, I don't think I'm catching the J muscle. Well, I'm closing in a little bit, but I wouldn't say I'm closing in enough to catch him. He seems to be just that little bit better than me at this stage, unless I do manage to catch him somehow. I knew that was going to happen. Oh, there goes any hope of catching him. At least I can say the guy right behind me also wrecked. So at least that means I do get to hold on to my second position, which is quite unprecedented. I'm also going to have to check my laptop in a minute, just to see how it's doing with all of this. Hopefully it's not having any dilemmas or anything. And yes, I do check my laptop regularly to make sure it's still recording, because apparent as it might be, I'm using a computer that's clearly not made for this sort of thing. Or at least as I've established in recent months, it's not made for this sort of thing. Oh, looks like it's going to be another L to the J muscle. But either way, it doesn't matter, because we've still got one race left. I did have a 2-point lead over him coming into this race, and I'm now well clear of both the Roadster and the Coupe. And another silver. I think I can probably get that back again once I've managed to... Oh, it is giving me the dilemmas again. Do excuse me for a moment. Okay. Hopefully I have managed to get whatever problem I had resolved now, because I chose to restart my laptop again to make sure everything would work properly, and hopefully this time it will. Anyways, still no change in the overall points, and we have one race left. So this is really heating up to be quite a battle between myself and the J muscle. So basically, if I can win the next race, then I should have at least won 4 out of the 6 races. Although after this I am going to have to go back and do the sweep. But either way, let's get on with the final race of the Point of Impact Grand Prix. It's a battle between myself and the J muscle. If I can manage to beat him, then I should at least have a shot of potentially beating him. And hopefully if there is enough traffic, he can maybe wreck enough times for me to catch up to him potentially. And it doesn't matter now, because they both just wrecked. And as a matter of fact, we all just went into the fence. But either way, it doesn't matter, because I basically reset in the lead. And now we can get on with what will be the final race in the penultimate championship of this game. Well, I like to call it a championship series event technically, but no, still in. Oh, fuck you. Of course it had to be. Oh, doesn't matter. He just wrecked right in front of me because he forgot there was a fork in the road. But once I can say that does benefit me. And apparently I'm not slowing down enough to the point of where I can just track the wall. But slam straight into it. For whatever reason. And sticking to the pavement, so I can at least be safe from other vehicles, unless they decide to come after me. Had to run on the right hand side just to make sure I was safe, and I do lead the first lap, which is good for me, because I need to make sure I stay ahead of the J-Muscle. I've got 3 wins up to this stage in the championship, and if I can manage to beat the J-Muscle in this race, then that should in turn make me the champion. But that's only if I can manage to beat the J-Muscle, because I know he's right there stalking me. And I really cannot afford too many mistakes if I'm going to beat him. This has probably been the most competitive championship I've been in so far. And it doesn't matter now because my teammate rivals just wrecked each other in the traffic. And unsurprisingly I wrecked myself as well. But it doesn't matter because I still have a reasonable lead over my main rival, and really trying my best to stay out of the traffic whilst I'm here, because it's going to be tricky for me to at least try and make sure I give myself enough space. But either way, I do lead the second lap. I have enough of a distance over the J-Muscle, as it is now the custom roadster who is once again up to second, but if I win this race it's going to make no difference because the J-Muscle will just be reset to second anyway, regardless of what happens. So as long as I beat him, then the championship is pretty much mine, but I am going to have to try and do this again with the supercar, just to make sure I sweep up the remaining races. Just gonna pause the game for a moment once I've... oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so just pausing it for a moment. Okay, everything seems to be working okay, so everything seems to be running normally at the moment. I've not had any major issues up to this stage, at least not since I adjusted the video bitrate, which I think is probably what's making this video operation run smoothly. And the only reason I'm using my laptop is because for the moment I cannot afford an actual PC for me to do my gameplay shit on. Anyways, to the finish, and I win 4 out of 6 races in the Point of Impact Grand Prix, officially giving me a win ratio of 66%. But either way, I will have to do this over again in order to unlock the pursuit. So, there we go. 4 out of 6 wins for the custom pickup, 5 wrecks in the end of that race, a total score of 8 million, and it took me 5 minutes and 5 seconds to finish the race. So I win the trophy, but I am going to need to see if I can get the sweep now with the supercar. because that is how I will unlock the pursuit. So, pursuit race remains locked. We have ascertained the custom roadster, and we've also unlocked the Heart Attack Grand Prix, and as it says there, it is the last Grand Prix in Burnout 2. So, with all that being said, let's now go back and do a full sweep of the Point of Impact Grand Prix. Alright then, we have achieved the clean sweep, and I've also decided, well, because I did not get any shots of the custom pickup, I've just decided on my redo attempt in the Point of Impact Grand Prix, I've decided, why don't I just get a shot of the supercar instead? And that's basically what I'm doing. It's also because, well, I don't think I've actually had any thumbnail shots at Airport Terminal 1 and 2. Well, technically it's Airport Terminals 1 and 2, but you know what I mean. Anyways, just getting a lap's worth of footage with the supercar because that seems to be my best choice at this stage, and I have no idea how I managed to squeak under the roadster. I guess it was just blind luck, presumably. Anyways, so getting up to the end of the first lap now of the final race, I also figured, well, because the supercar is basically the fastest car in the game, as long as you have the consistency, you're basically guaranteed to get a clean sweep. Even though I'm probably not going to be using this for the final event, because I have another car that I will want to use, but before then we need to do a pursuit. Okay, well, not really a change in any thumbnail shots there, so yeah, I'm happy with this. So that was my score. I have now achieved the clean sweep. I've already won the trophy, and we have unlocked our final pursuit, which takes place on Ocean Sprint. And I think the car we get after this is the custom muscle, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, there we go. The Point of Impact Grand Prix is complete with a clean sweep, and next up will be Pursuit 6. Our final pursuit of the game, and then once we're done with that, we have the Heart Attack Grand Prix. Both of those will be coming up in the next segment.